Hi everyone, we're slowly going live on everything. Just give us a couple of minutes.
Hello. So I'll go live on my phone.
We're going live on
Instagram.
Facebook. I think Instagram you can put it here because my
Yes.
computer overheats.
Yes.
So I'm gonna move a bit the computer. Hi everyone, as I said, we're going live slowly. Just give us a few minutes to fix the technical thing. My computer is basically standing on 6 different books and I'm trying to make the phone fit as well.
So here's we're going live on Instagram as well.
And we're going live. Are we live on Instagram? We're live.
Wonderful.
Amazing. We should be live on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram, which is great. Andrea, you need to come a bit more this way for it to fit.
I'm coming a bit more.
Perfect. So hi everyone. Let's get started. I'm Colombe and this is Andrea. We are the co-founders and co-executive directors of Now. Yeah, we have shared leadership in the movement. Unfortunately, today at the office, Laura is not joining us because she is working from home. But she'll join us next time, and she's already commenting, as always, on all of the lives. So just to get down to business, please comment. We are trying to keep track of the comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, and we'll pick up on them as we go. Yeah? Anything
That's
else?
it. You say it all. We are ready to go. So thank you for everyone that is joining already. We're gonna start slowly to allow more people to join. But just to give you an overview of today's topics, we're gonna first talk about our freedom campaign. We have a freedom campaign with exciting news. We have a lot of things to say about it. We're obviously gonna introduce ourselves at the beginning, and then we're gonna jump on the climate campaign, and we're gonna finally discuss about how we're building a community from the ground up.
Exactly, and I already see quite a few people who are commenting, saying that they're standing with Hong Kong. From Korea, which is amazing to see. So don't hesitate to add your comments, what you think we should be doing to help safeguard Hong Kong's freedoms. We'll keep on picking on it. So to get started, we just wanted to tell you about 2 quick updates, because those Q&As are normally, Andrea is very excited about the Q&A today. Those Q&As are normally used for us to tell you about the updates and then discuss what is happening in the world. And last week was a busy week for us at Now. One, I recorded a TED Talk for a while, and the news was finally out last week. So the TED Talk came out, which means that we have...
It's amazing. It's a very good one. You should all watch it.
Thank you for the promotion. But which means that we have a lot of new members coming in, thanks to the release of the talk. So beyond the fact that I would love it if you can all watch it, it helps in getting more views and in the talk getting traction. It means that we really have members from all over the world, a lot from the US, a lot of members from India, from Indonesia, and so on, joining, which is great to see. We keep on expanding and having people in more countries. For example, we have now members in Libya as well, which we didn't before.
Well, we're facing the big difficulties of having calls in different time zones, which is giving a big headache to everyone. But we're going to manage. I mean, we're one of the first global movements, so we have to find a way to make it work for everyone. So if you have joined from Australia, from the east of the world, you might notice that we have a lot of calls in times that do not work for you. So we are working to fix that and probably to have many more calls. And Laura is excited about that. I can see she keeps on sending the hearts.
And Laura will be, since she's here, posting the link of the talk so you can see it on Facebook and probably YouTube as well. We already have a question from Bizard Ulu. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Asking if we have people in Germany.
People in Germany connect, I think, with the Uyghur topic.
So we have quite a few groups in Germany working in general on our freedom campaign, which is one of the things we'll be talking about during this live.
Yes.
We have big groups in Berlin, in Frankfurt, that are protesting every single Friday in front of Chinese embassies to demand that world leaders stand together, work together to protect democracy. And a few of them already, we had protest-specific themes on protecting Uyghurs. But if you are interested and if you know people, please do drop me a private message since you are asking this comment on Instagram, and we'll try to answer and organize something with you.
Absolutely. It's very cool. And as we are super open to cooperate with other organizations, with volunteers, anyone that wants to be of help, please let us know, because we need support. We have 3 people working on this and many volunteers, obviously, but we can't make it alone. So if you are interested in the topic, if you know people, we are here to build a network.
Exactly. So that was the first update last week. It was Ted, and then both Andrea and I spoke at something quite cool. Do you want to tell us more about it?
Absolutely. We spoke at the Athens Democracy Forum. There is basically a conference running since 2012, I believe, hosted by the New York Times about democracy. Innovation in democracy, threats to democracy, trends in democracy. And we were invited we've been invited as basically panelists and moderators of a 1-hour-long session about how people can be mobilized across the world to basically impact change. And obviously, as I said in the opening of the session, this is what we do for a living since 3 years. And so we have some insights to share. Obviously, we have also a lot to learn. But the session was amazing. You can find it on YouTube. And basically, we covered kind of a mock campaign to defend democracy. Actually, it's very similar to what we actually do, because we have this campaign running to support freedom struggles around the world. But basically, we run through the idea of how you get an idea of a campaign, to how you structure it, how you create a need and an audience for that, and finally how you actually start pushing for change. And we receive a very good positive feedback on all of this. So please go on YouTube if you want to tell us what you think, if you find it useful. But I think that the most important key message that you can take out of this session, if you ever watch it, is what we said at the end. And so that basically this is not rocket science. This is not impossible. You don't have to be a superhero to actually be an activist, a political activist, and campaign for what you believe into. You just need to try. And maybe with our help or with someone else's help, you can make it. So if you have a burning passion for something, if you believe that the world is wrong and someone has to make it right, maybe this person is you. And we would be delighted to work with you, whoever you are, but you can make it also on your own. So that was a big message that we sent at this Athens Democracy Forum. And aside from our session, obviously we met incredibly change makers from all over the world, very interesting people. It was also great fun. So if you want to check what we did, is on the website. We're going to send a newsletter about it. So that was it in a few words.
Yeah, and I think one important point is that we talked a lot about an idea that we're working on, which is the League of Democracies. So, a lot of people join now because of a campaign on Hong Kong. And the idea behind, so to recap for the newcomers, is that China has been cracking down on Hong Kong's democracy and freedoms for many, many months. And it kind of culminated in July, it's been a long day, with a really, really bad situation where basically China passed the national security law, which kind of put an end to democracy in Hong Kong and created extremely strong sanctions for people standing for democracy. So for example, just for saying that you want democracy in Hong Kong, you can face life imprisonment, extradition to mainland China, where you won't have access to a fair trial, etc. And around this, we started working on the idea of mobilizing the international community, so people across the world. By international community, we don't mean, world leaders in their silver offices somewhere, but like people like you and I across the world to stand together and demand that those world leaders start standing with Hong Kong, start standing for democracy. And we started with Andrea, myself, a volunteer called Mirta in Brussels, and Anita going in front of the Chinese embassy, being chased away and protesting. And we kind of, started a bigger protest. Now those actions are ongoing in more than 40 cities every week. We reach more than 3 million people online, which is great. But there's a deeper idea behind this. Beyond protest, what we want is to make sure that big democratic powers actually unite, start working together, and as a result, impose coordinated sanctions, whether they be economic or diplomatic, on countries that are violating basic freedoms, that are cracking down on democracy. And so Hong Kong is a great example because this is happening in a dramatic manner, but it's not the only place where it's happening, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we want to bring this campaign at. We want to start really caring about issues like Belarus, like Venezuela, like many other struggles for freedom that are undergoing right now across the world. And we believe that if we manage to implement this coalition, this League of Democracy, as we call it, of major democracies who want to stand together to protect basic freedoms, we can actually impact change for real. And obviously, this is not easy. We know there is a huge task. We know that it's going to take probably many months, many years to get to a situation where actually, countries will stand up together, issuing common positions on the situation, for example, of Belarus or Hong Kong or Venezuela. But we believe that if we don't get there, we're going to lose the battle. So it's extremely important that if you care about freedom, if you care about democracy, if you believe that there is a contrast between authoritarian values and democratic values, and you want to stand on the side of democracy, please join us in these battles, because we are working for it. We're going to really dedicate ourselves to create this League of Democracy. We're going to dedicate all our energies to create this coalition that can protect freedom, and we can only make it if many other people join us. Because, as I said before, we're a small team, we have amazing volunteers, but we need way more to make it happen.
And I also think, that there is the fact that, we're talking a lot about Hong Kong because we should, but similar and sometimes worse similar issues are happening against Uyghur people, against mainland Chinese, but it's not only at the hand of China. You mentioned Belarus, Venezuela. There's a lot of situations in the world where democracy is being cracked down on. And it's not only at the hands of authoritarian regimes, like the current Venezuelan government that is in power, because you do have another government, although it doesn't hold a lot of power. But something we want to make clear with this campaign as well is that no people comes before another people, that no one is more important. And I think it's really important to reiterate it for a simple reason. We talk a lot about Hong Kong because we believe that it is one of the battles of this generation. We believe that the Hong Kong protests have shown what people should be doing, that the world needs to stand with Hong Kong, but not only. And, when you look at what is happening in the US, with the police systematically imprisoning and often killing Black people, there is a democracy crisis over there as well. It's not at the hands of China, but there is a democracy crisis. There is a democracy crisis in Hungary, where the government is eroding the basic independence of the judiciary. Or in Bulgaria, where there's massive rampant corruption and people have been on the streets for months as well. And for us, it is very important that through our work we mobilize really a lot of people every week on the street to protest for democracy. We make it clear that we won't go for the shortcuts of, just blaming China for everything.
Yeah.
China is committing genocide. China is cracking down on democracy, but it's not the only country that is cracking down on democracy. And I'm saying this because I realized this week, and then I'll stop talking, but I posted this week against what Trump has been doing, in the sense that Trump, very early on, completely dismissed COVID, told people not to listen to science, even told people to drink bleach at one point. I mean, the guy is crazy. And now that he has COVID, he was in the hospital but left to go and say hi to people, even though it was through his car. So putting at risk people in his car. And I said this, and people were replying to me. Some people were replying to me on Twitter, explaining that anyhow, it's much better to have Trump because he's, I shouldn't criticize Trump because he's tough on China. And look, am I happy that Trump is responding strongly to what the CPP is doing? Yes. I think all countries should be condemning to the highest level what is happening, should be imposing coordinated sanctions, economic sanctions, diplomatic sanctions. What is happening is horrible. But Trump is far from the solution. The guy doesn't believe in democracy. He explained that if he loses, he might not give power peacefully. that's a wannabe dictator. I don't believe that he is the solution. And I think we need to make it clear for our campaign that the right of one people will not come at the expense of the rights of others. And that democracy applies to everyone, and it's not just in one place. As a team and as now, we want to fight for democracy everywhere.
Absolutely. You can't expect the world to take care of you if you don't take care of the world. So it's really important that we understand as activists, as political activists, that we cannot only care about our neighborhood, our garden, our courtyard, because if not, no one else will help us when needed. So we had, as Colombe said, we are truly happy when even people that we don't respect, or that the two of us don't respect, as Donald Trump, take stances on issues that we care about, like Hong Kong. But we cannot just want Donald Trump to succeed in everything he does because of that. Whatever Donald Trump does, or whatever Viktor Orban does, or whatever Maduro does, even if it's of help on one of the issues that we cover, we can't support them blindly.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. But it's very important that we understand, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen that we might be happy for one decision of the President of the United States and unhappy for other 9 decisions. And we need to be able to distinguish between that one decision and the other 9. And so it's going to be our work, but we hope that our followers, our activists, our volunteers can also do that as we do every day. And as I said before, I think the most important message of this long tirade that we put in this session is that you can't expect to be helped and supported if you don't understand that other people are in difficulties as well. And so we are part of a global community of people fighting for freedom, people struggling for freedom. We can't only look at ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And we're also a multi-issue organization, right? We stand for freedom, but we also stand, for example, for LGBT rights, for women's rights. And so it all goes hand in hand. So that was just to say, with democracy being pushed back across the world, I think it was the Global Index on Democracy that showed that since 2015, democracy has been in decline. It doesn't just happen in one place. It's really important that we put up a common front to protect it. And that's the work we're trying to do by pushing world leaders through protests, but we're also trying to lobby. We are entering in touch with a lot of politicians, doing the behind-the-scene work to create this League of Democracy. I like the name League, but basically the idea that countries unite and start coordinating on how to protect democracy. Go for it, Sam.
No, I just want to say that it can apply to democracy, but it can apply to many other topics. We were discussing yesterday what wonderful work would such an institution do on topics like migration, in having a more human and coordinated approach to migration flows, what it can do on climate change, what it can do on many other problems that we face because we only have national institutions care about national problems. So even fiscal justice, the fact that digital nation don't pay taxes. So if we manage to bring some power in a coalition of countries that share the same values, we might actually change the world. And so this is what we are working for, and I really hope that people following us right now understand and grasp the size of the vision.
And want to join it.
Exactly, because this is an open vision. You can shape it, you can mold it, you can improve it, and we need you.
And as someone told us this actually in Greece this week, that it shouldn't just be about protecting democracy anyhow. It should be about innovating it.
It's true.
And one of the things we've been doing a lot is inviting people who are active in the Taiwanese democratic scene. For example, we had a virtual town hall with Audrey Tang, who's the digital minister in Taiwan. And we couldn't agree more. Democracy is a living concept. It evolves, and it should evolve. And it's never one and always to be one, which means that we can always improve it. And so what we want to do with this league is also, learn from one another. For example, some countries have way more participatory democracy. Citizens can actually interact a lot with people and with their governments. And we want to do this. This League of Democracy should be striving to always improve democracy. So I think it's a pretty exciting concept.
It's a very exciting concept. Now we're picking up on a question from Andrick Fernandez on Instagram. Hi, thank you for your incredible work. What inspired you to begin your advocacy? I mean, you could write a book about many things that inspired us, but I think that if I cover quickly, let's say, the history that brought Colombe and I and then Laura and many others to start this movement and begin fighting for freedom and democracy. Basically, you can track it back in the work that Colombe and I started doing 3 years ago. So 3 years ago, the two of us, together with our third friend, Damian, we started working on a European movement. So on a project, try to bring politics to Europe, making sure that Europe could develop a public political space by creating a European movement fighting for the same values across borders. We did that in preparation of the European elections of 2019. It went very well. We also elected Damian, our third co-founders, to the European Parliament. But throughout the process, Colombe Andrea realized something, that many of the issues that we're trying to tackle, and actually many of the issues that inspire us and brought us to create this movement, were global in nature. So, when we're saying we need to unite to fight climate change, then, even if Europe, the country where we come from, would stop having any emission,
which is far from being the case.
Which is far from being the case, but the problem will still be there. And actually, the biggest polluters are not in Europe right now. If you think about the migration flows, they were a big topic in Europe in 2015 and still nowadays. Many of these situations are not generated in the continent, but actually the continent is just failing to respond and support.
And I think even if it's not originated, the thing is migration flows have always existed.
Exactly.
And they represent opportunities, but regardless of this, they will always exist. And they go beyond continents because we already live as one world.
And then let's take the topic of democracy. Having a very important figure like the US president disregarding basic democratic procedures, or having huge crises in a country like Asia, are touching us all over the world. And so we realized that we had to do something global to really try to tackle the problem at the source. And so in January 2020, together we launched Now. This is the movement we're talking about right now. And many of the people that are not following this live joined and have shaped our initiative. But so basically, to go back to the root of the problem, is that global issues must be tackled with global solutions. And it doesn't make sense to only look at your continent, your region, your state, at your nation. So this is what inspires us to launch this global movement, and we are super happy to have so many people interested in it and participating.
Yeah, and I think what keeps on inspiring us to continue the advocacy, since you asked, are the members that are engaging on an everyday basis. So we've been super lucky, I think, that we had amazing members from a very early stage. So we had like thousands of people who joined and who are literally pushing forward the work. So we're doing it, but we're doing this live, but it's not just us. Like on this live, I see many of our members from Beatrice to Laura and so on commenting. And they are the ones actually pushing the work forward on a daily basis as well. A lot of people, who've never done it before are organizing protests for people they've never met in another country. So in Brussels, we have medical students from Germany who's organizing protests for Hong Kongers. It's I think what really motivates me, at least on a daily basis, is seeing those people that are just spending their free time, putting at risk their potential work, doing stuff that are not easy to do, to ensure that we have a better future and that we solve shared challenges. So I think that's one of the points. And sorry, we're looking in very different. I know that the live is not great. We've been looking at the Instagram, so on Facebook and YouTube it looks a bit weird, like we're not looking at you. But it's because the phone is on a different level than the computer. And that answers the next question that I've had from Hugo asking if Andrea is punished because he's not in my life. But I'm also, basically, we have two phones next to one another and exactly. I'm not in his life, so.
It's life. We can do just that, so we're doing our best. Perfect. So should we move to the next topic?
Yeah.
So we discussed a lot about our democracy campaign because it's the one that we are working really hard on. But we actually have an amazing other campaign. It's actually the one we started the movement with. It's our climate campaign, where Laura, that is following from home, is leading the effort. But we can definitely give you an update and we can tell you more about a big thing that we're organizing for December. So if you want, Colombe, we'll give the background and then you can reveal the surprise, the big action.
Go for it.
Let's do that. So for those of you that don't remember or didn't know now, when we started, in January 2020, we launched our first campaign. There is a campaign demanding the United Nations Security Council, so the most important and powerful body of the United Nations, to declare a global climate emergency. Why did we target the United Nations Security Council? Because in Chapter 7 of the United Nations Charter, of the Constitution of the United Nations, there is a section saying if there is an emergency and the United Nations Security Council recognizes it as such, it can impose measures and basically push countries all over the world to take action. Obviously, this was initially designed as a response to humanitarian crises like wars, genocide, and these kind of horrible events. But throughout the years, it became increasingly clear that climate is also a crisis. We are living in emergency. Many people are losing their livelihood, their assets, their lives because of climate change. And so we believe it's time for the United Nations to consider it as the emergency it is and take action. And so we want to exploit this kind of article that was, as I said, immediate for other reasons, to actually push the whole world to take coordinating actions to tackle climate change. So we started this campaign. It went very well. Many of you joined us because of the campaign. Then COVID came, and with COVID, many people sadly focused their attention on the pandemic, and sadly, rightly so, on the pandemic. But we want to keep the flame of public attention and of support alive under our climate demand. And so that's why.
That's why we're working. Sorry, I'm answering two comments at the same time on Facebook. That's why we're working on something called the Climate Month. And a big surprise will come soon. So we can't tell you everything. But the idea is that, another year has gone by, little action has been done for climate. The COP, which is the UN convention that happens every year for climate, didn't take place. And once more, basically, another year goes by, no meaningful action has been taken, and we are running out of time. We have less and less time every year to deal with the climate crisis. And this is not just dramatic in a faraway future, it's dramatic today. A lot of people already have to migrate because of climate. They don't have access to resources anymore. Species are dying and being extinct, and we're reaching a tipping point. And we need to send a strong signal that this is not okay. And Andrea already mentioned that, we can only solve the climate crisis if we work together. And this is an integral part of our work, it's uniting people. But governments refuse to do so. The biggest polluters are not taking coordinated actions. They are not taking the climate crisis seriously. And then when it is actually possible to work together. So we said, okay, we have people from more than 100 countries that are clearly more mature than their governments in this way, in the sense that they are happy to work together. They are happy to go the extra mile and to try to solve the climate crisis. So let's do it. So we're creating a month of action, the last month of 2020, so December, to make sure that governments see that we, the people, are capable of uniting beyond borders and impacting climate change. So we will do a month of action with actions on a daily basis to mitigate the impacts of climate change. And it will be coupled with a lot of advocacy and lobbying towards the UN Security Council to show governments, the UN, that we can do it. It's not rocket science. They need to take concrete actions. That the people of the world are already taking the lead. Now they need to do it.
And we have a pretty good name for it.
Really?
Green December.
We didn't agree on it. I think Laura, who's following the live, is going to have a heart attack because she didn't agree on it.
I think we're almost there with the name, but it might be this name. So, as Colombe said, please get involved, because we are actually basing our whole strategy on having a lot of participation from volunteers like you, or from activists all over the world. We are going.
Laura is commenting. I didn't know that we agreed on the name, so we didn't agree on the name of December. That's one of the issues, and the name is not great. So if you have ideas of what we could call it, please comment.
So we have interrupted my call to action.
Sorry.
For those of you that really care about climate and understand the importance of taking swift actions to tackle the climate crisis.
Swift action
to tackle the climate crisis. Please join us. Please go on our website. There is a campaign page where you can express your interest in volunteering, in being part of the central team that will coordinate these actions all over the world. And we need you. We have already a very good base. We have a lot of people that join us, and we're extremely grateful for that. But we want to be more. We want to Laura to have her phone burning of calls every day for the next 2 months, because we really need your support to ensure that we do not only impact climate in our own capacity, but actually that we show, as Colombe said, governments and people all over the world can come together and do more.
And we just received a question to conclude this from someone saying, how can people volunteer on these actions? How can we help? And so I think this is perfect following Andrea's call to action. We need people to take action. That's super simple. From the freedom campaign, of making sure that we create a League of Democracy that can support democracy struggles across the world, to making sure that the climate crisis is dealt with, we need people to take action. And for this, we have a simple funnel. You should just basically go on our website. Laura has been posting the links all along. And you will be able to register, and you will be able to become a member very quickly. And as a result, you will be able to help us in shaping this campaign. And it means different things for different campaigns. So I'll take you through it super quickly. For example, for the Green December, if we call it this way, for the month of action for climate, you will be able to help us in organizing it. So we're planning a lot of different actions in December. You will be able to plan it, to help in coordinating local teams across the world, and help with the advocacy and lobbying of governments in the UN Security Council to make sure that they take action on the climate crisis and declare a global climate emergency. So go on the website and go on the campaign, and literally if you sign up, you'll receive an automated email telling you how to participate. And for the democracy campaign, same. The actions are different. So for the democracy campaign right now, volunteers across the world are organizing protests. This means that if you join and there's already a protest in your city, you can help in doing it better. So for example, in London, we're organizing them along with a few volunteers, like Aurora and John. And John a few weeks ago had the idea of starting doing musical protests.
It's so cool.
So we sing, and I try not to because I have a terrible voice, but other people sing at every protest, and then we have speeches and so on. So volunteers shape the protest. But that's not the only thing. In this campaign, we also lobby politicians. So volunteers start getting in touch with their representative, whether at the local or national level, to try to get them to take actions on democracy and to work together across the world to create this League of Democracy. It will take much longer to explain exactly how, but basically if you join, you'll receive an automated email explaining all of the next steps. You'll be able to jump on a call with Laura or Andrea or I, and we'll take you through the next steps.
So join. Please, we need your help. And it's very fun, and it's very interesting, and we do great things, hopefully. So it's very important that even if you have 1 hour per week, 1 hour every 2 weeks, just try, and see, you will see how rewarding, how interesting it is to work with people from all over the world to tackle the biggest challenges of our time. Having said that, I think we covered most of our campaigns, so the 2 that we are currently running, and we also mentioned the key events that we ran this week. I think that the last important thing to mention is that we have opened a Facebook group, the first Facebook group the first global Facebook group of our organization, and it's very cool. We have already 100 people joining in that are introducing themselves, exchanging ideas. It's very new, it's like 3 days old. And so if you're on Facebook, if you like what we do, if you just want to get to know more people fighting for the values that we advance, please join us. Come on Facebook, join the group, introduce yourself, and show that actually we can build this global community that we believe is very needed for this planet.
Exactly. So it's a great place for discussion, and then when you join as a member, you'll be able to interact with the internal community. So last call to action, do it soon, because on Thursday we have a community chat. So every week someone from a different place in the world posts it and discusses a topic that is global and that they want to talk about and brainstorm about. We've had amazing ones, and this week actually we will host it with Laura as well. And it will be a moment for new members to get to know each other, introduce themselves, get feedback, understand what the next campaign should be about, and how we move from here. So it's a really exciting time. Thank you so much for attending and for all of the questions. And yeah, we really look forward to working with you, hopefully.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.